Hey everybody, welcome back to another whiskey review. Today I will be uncorking for you the brand new Larceny Barrel Proof Batch A120. As always here on the channel, I'll give you a nose, taste, finish review of this bourbon. Chat a bit about the value, give you my final thoughts, and I'll give you a preliminary score. So first, a bit about Larceny and its barrel proof bourbon. So Larceny is what's considered a wheated bourbon. So while bourbon is required to have minimum 51% corn in the mash bill to be called a bourbon, this has a mash bill that is high on the wheat side. So typically gives you what's called a kind of smoother or more sweet delivery and taste on this. But Larceny has been releasing some whiskey for quite a while under this brand name. This is out of the Heaven Hill Distillery in Kentucky. But Larceny is a wheated bourbon that I think has been on the market now for at least 5 or 6 years here. This is January 2020. And the whiskey, I think itself, is relatively easy to get your hands on. It's in that like $25 to $30 range. Really solid stuff. And so this year, here in 2020, they are releasing a barrel proof version of their signature whiskey. And so this is the first inaugural batch of the barrel proof line, and really excited to dig into this with you today. So as I mentioned, this is batch A120, A meaning the first batch of the month. They're going to do a B and a C. I believe in May will be the B, September will be the C. The proof on this is 123.2 or 61.6 ABV. So this is a really, really high ABV whiskey. A little bit about Larceny, the Larceny line itself. So the story goes, Johnny Fitzgerald was a treasury agent who at the time was the only person legally allowed to carry keys to the rick houses at what was the Fitzgerald Distillery. He often gave in to temptation and freely took from the best bourbon barrels, uncut at barrel proof. So there's rumor that some of those that were included in the things he was stealing was a Pappy Van Winkle line. Today you can taste this liquid in much the same way as Johnny Fitzgerald. Larceny barrel proof small batch bourbon is made from a mingling of 6 to 8 year old bourbon that is bottled uncut and without chill filtration. This bourbon honors both the superb taste of this lawless treasury agent and the wheated bourbon legacy of the old Fitzgerald brand. So that's the story behind Larceny. It doesn't tell you what the mash bill is on this here on the bottle, but I did a little research, and this one is a 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley mash bill. All right, enough talk. Let's get into this uncorking. Okay. Nice pop. Okay. So now that we got this in the glass, as it is a bourbon, coloring is not allowed. So this is the natural color. This is what you're looking at as far as color, kind of a deep amber, deep red color on this. Let's get into the nose. Wow. Right away, for those who are seasoned bourbon drinkers, you can tell this is high wheat, and it's got that kind of biscuity, bready, cracker kind of note coming through it. Also heavy kind of sweet caramel, brown sugar. A little bit of a leathery, maybe tobacco, more leathery note. Yeah, a little bit of a dark chocolate maybe. Oak. So a bit of spice off the oak. All in all, nice nose. Seems relatively balanced, which is interesting. And nothing real surprising. Okay. All right. Let's give this a taste. Cheers, everyone. Wow. Huge flavor. Really intense. sticky, oily, heavy, rich vanilla, brown sugar, caramel. Wow. Right away, you're just hit with those at really high volume. As it develops, you get this hit of dry, peppery, black pepper, chili pepper, cinnamon that is really drying and quite hot. Given the ABV on this, that's not totally surprising. Orange too, there's an orange in there. As it gets into the finish, yeah, the heat definitely is there. It's a medium finish. It's not hanging on real long, but spicy, oak, vanilla, chocolate. A little bit of toffee and orange, maybe even apple still there too. Yeah, so medium on the finish. That is just a real intense shot in the arm of bourbon. That's what that is. I guess for being barrel proof, I would have hoped it would hang around a little bit longer, but given that it's, almost 8 years, 6 to 8 years on the bourbon, but and then you're left right at the end with that nice kind of shortbread, sweet, bready note right at the end of that finish. It makes you want to go back for more, for sure, which is exactly what we're going to do right now. But I'm going to put a little bit of water on this first. Given that this is 61.6%, we're going to bring this about a teaspoon and a half, 2 teaspoons of water. All right, let's get back into this now with water. Oh, wow. So with the addition of water, the vanilla comes out a lot more. And it's like a creamy bit vanilla frosting. It almost smells like you've walked into an ice cream shop, if you know what that smells like. Yeah, rich, sweet, vanilla. Little bit of cinnamon. The fruit notes have went away. It's just caramel, maybe like cotton candy. Little bit more brown sugar, but that's taken a step back too. So with the addition of water here on the nose, the fruit has stepped back, the brown sugar has stepped back, and stepping forward really is this kind of toasty vanilla, this kind of sweet frosting cotton candy type thing. A little bit of that bready note is there too. Again, like shortbread cookie. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So that initial arrival that we got before is still hanging on here. Caramel, brown, light brown sugar, vanilla, slight cinnamon, slight almost nutmeg, dusting of nutmeg type thing or whatever. And the spice and the heat with the addition of that 2 teaspoons of water is almost completely went away. This has mellowed out considerably with water. What was a really intense hit of pepper and heat has just tamed off. Into the finish, again, dark chocolate, slight kind of coffee note maybe, mocha. A little bit of nutmeg too. Finish is actually sticking around a little bit longer now, but it's just a sweet, again, vanilla, not quite as oily and viscous, but it's hanging around. That shortbread note is still there right on the end, which I really like. Just one more taste. Okay. Okay, there's that spice note again. There's almost a little citrus in it too. This is going to be an interesting one to explore more. Here's one more look at the bottle. I like the presentation of Larceny. It's kind of a unique bottle. This is the same bottle that the standard Larceny bourbon release comes out in. Yeah. As I said, 61.6% ABV, no chill filtration, 6 to 8 years old. Those are the specs. All good things. Okay. As far as the cost goes, so this is going to be an allocated bourbon, which means it's not going to be the easiest thing to find. It had just hit the market in January of 2020 for this inaugural batch release. I expect that it'll be, somewhat available. I wouldn't say this is an exclusive bourbon, but I don't think it's going to be on every shelf. So you might have to hunt for it a little bit, but you're going to be looking to spend, should you find a bottle, in the $50 to $55 range. I think that that's a really good price for a barrel proof bourbon, specifically one that has been aged, 6 to 8 years. It's got a brand name that is really well known. This is out of Heaven Hill Distillery, which also does the Elijah Craig barrel proof bourbons, although those are at 12 years and usually a bit more pricey. So you're looking at kind of a sweeter, more wheat forward barrel proof bourbon coming in at that $50 to $55 range. I think it's a good buy. This is one you're going to want on your shelf. I don't know what offhand kind of cocktails you'd want to put something like this in, but as a straight sipper, this is bound to please. I could see this even as the type of bourbon you give to somebody who's maybe just got into bourbon and wants to try something at higher ABV for the first time. It's not the most complex bourbon that I've had. I personally think when it comes to the barrel proof releases from Heaven Hill, Elijah Craig barrel proof, I think has a bit more dynamism and complexity. But this one definitely delivers. If you like wheated bourbons, as I know a lot of folks do, this is one that you're definitely going to want to seek out, and it's at a really great price. So my final score here for this uncorking of the Larceny barrel proof is going to be a 4 out of 5, which is I recommend going out and buying a bottle. As I mentioned, this is just coming onto the shelves now. It is early February of 2020, so you should be seeing this around soon. It's worth hunting for. And I hope that you can get yourself a bottle. I'm going to be looking forward to getting into this bottle a bit more myself, and we'll probably come back in a few months and tell you what I think after it's had a few months of oxidizing in the bottle. So 4 out of 5 is my final score on the Larceny Barrel Proof. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.